Welcome to Arctic's 8-Bit Bytes. I'd like to introduce a new series of videos for my channel. I'm going to call it Arctic's 8-Bit Error Logs. Instead of acting like I have all the answers in these videos, I want to do the opposite. I want to talk about my failures and all the stupid little things that can make AV programming so hard. So let's call this first video Error Log Entry Number 1. My QSC Qsys failure of the week. My Qsys failure this week caused me an hour of lost time. The crazy thing is that it was so super obvious after I figured out my problem, I just never thought about it. I was programming a small kids' room at a local church. This kids' room had a large sharp display on one wall, an Extron video switcher, an Extron audio DSP, and a QSC sound system for playing back computer audio. There was a Q-SYS core processor located on the other side of the building that they wanted me to use as the room's processor. They were trying to save money. They didn't want to buy another processor for this small room. So this room had a 5-inch Q-SYS touchscreen on the wall, and all the devices were going to be network Ethernet controlled. I was in the final stages of finishing the room. Before that point, I'd done most of my programming in the Q-SYS Designer software in Emulate mode. The awesome thing about Emulate mode is that it can actually run your Q-SYS program and talk to Ethernet devices, all without needing a core processor. I've even seen people in the Q-SYS Designer software in Emulate mode to control stuff and never even buy a control processor. So it was time to upload my final program to the Q-SYS processor. I did the upload, which was taking some time. It was going very, very slow for some reason. And I started to find a few things that I wanted to change in the touch panel once it went live in the room. I still had my Q-SYS Designer software up on my computer. I'd make a change and test the change in Emulate mode before sending it back to the processor because it was taking so long. Then, all of a sudden, my room started acting really funny. The Denon Blu-ray player stopped communicating, and the display no longer wanted to turn on and off reliably. I'm like, what in the world just happened here? I mean, the room was working so well. So I power cycled all the equipment, and everything in the room seemed as though it went back to normal. Like, really, what just happened here? Once I figured out the solution, it was so obvious. It was so stupid. When I uploaded the program to the core processor, the program started running and created its own Ethernet connections with the devices from the core. Then, when I went back to my computer to make some of those changes, I put my computer and the Q-SYS Designer software into Emulate mode. I basically tried to create a second set of Ethernet connections to the same devices. Some devices are fine with that, and they allow multiple connections, and some are not. The Denon Blu-ray player decided to simply lock up every time. I had to power cycle it. The display, because of how the device driver was written, was bouncing its Ethernet connection back and forth between the core processor and my computer. So sometimes it would work on my computer and sometimes it would work on the touch panel. So the simple solution is, if you have a program running on the core, and if you want to test and run that same program in Emulate mode on your computer, simply unplug the core from the network, or simply don't go into Emulate mode once the program is already live and running in the room. That had never occurred to me, that running in Emulate mode on your computer, in effect, runs the same program 2 times on the network. One program running on your computer, and that same program running again on the core. So this all makes total sense now, but at the time, not so much. I ended up wasting a decent amount of time for something so stupid and so simple.